Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Amanda Lamb. In today's deep dive conversation, we're talking with Capital Broadcasting Marketing Director John Gilliam about the amazing WRAL commercial which aired during the Super Bowl on our sister station Fox 50, and it's going to keep people talking long after the game fades from their memories. John, welcome to the program.
I'm unbelievably excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, this is just such a fun advertisement. And obviously, so many viewers got a chance to see it during the Super Bowl. So tell us about the commercial for anybody who might have missed it. What's the theme?
So it was kind of fun. We started working on it literally after the last Super Bowl aired. We had Sir Purr coming in for the Panthers to do an event with the Durham Bulls. And we had three ideas that we were kind of pitching around for what we wanted to do for this Super Bowl. And since he was there, we just started filming it.
And so he's the mascot,
he's
right?
The mascot that's on there.
Okay.
Yeah. So the premise is basically we're holding auditions and we want to see new talent because we're looking for anchors and reporters and meteorologists. And they're coming in and they're trying out for our typical newsroom jobs, whether it be live center or...
And they're causing a little bit of a ruckus on the set, right?
It gets to be fun.
They're not well behaved.
No.
So tell me which mascots you had.
So from the professional ranks, we had Sir Purr from the Carolina Panthers. We had Stormy from the Hurricanes. We had Sal the Salamander from the Holly Springs Salamanders. We had Willie Bull from the Durham Bulls. And then from the local colleges around our area, we had from NC State, the Wolves, Mr. and Mrs. Wolf. And then we had the Duke Blue Devil from Duke. And then, of course, we had UNC's Ramses because he was played by the fabulous Roy Williams.
Absolutely. And then you started this all started because of our radio show and their host. Tell me about that.
Correct. So when we were talking about celebrities and narrowing down our list, we had one right at the top of it, and it was Roy. And we connected with Joe Ovius and Joe Gilliam, the OG. Listen now. On
the fan.
On 99.9, yes. And Gilliam had his contact information. And Roy's a tough guy to get a hold of. He doesn't have email. He just has a phone number.
Okay.
Because he doesn't want to be bothered in retirement.
Understandably, yeah.
But he helped us out, got us the number. He actually reached out to our VP of TV, GM, Joel Davis. And then we started talking, and it became a great relationship. He wanted to help a charity and make his grandkids have a great time. So I think his grandkids were actually the people who talked him into wearing the costume because he started sending us lines after he figured out what we were trying to do.
That's funny.
And he was like, I want to do this and I want to do this. And then we sent him over some suggestions and he was like, oh, we can combine these two together. So
it sounds like he was a great sport.
Oh, yeah. Unbelievable. He showed up on campus and it was funny. I didn't even think about it at the time. We made the UNC TV studio look like the WRL TV studio because they have a big array wall like we do. So we threw our graphics up there. So he's not even physically here in the building.
I gotcha. Okay.
But when we went over there, it was Roy Williams on UNC's campus. So he couldn't get 5 feet outside of the car.
Oh, I'm sure.
Without 400 people.
No.
So I had to actually go out and grab him and pull him in. And then the second he got in there, he was having fun.
So you had a lot of WRAL talent. I mean, really packed it in. Tell me who was part of this.
Okay, so I'll do it hopefully by memory and order of appearance. So the clapboard at the beginning was Brian Schrader. And then right after that, you see Renee Chu and Jeff Hogan. And then you move over to the meteorologists and you see Mike Mays, Kat Campbell, and then you move over to Elizabeth Gardner. And then you hear a few more guest speakers that are kind of Easter eggs, but
like
I'll give
Ken
you one.
Smith, right?
Ken Smith is one.
Okay.
And then we end up the spot with Deborah Morgan and Gerald Owens.
what kind of feedback did you get from the ad? I mean, were people surprised by the celebrity in the costume?
Yeah, I think everybody is. We had a cool kind of reveal leading up to it where we were revealing a different mascot each day. So like on the 9 a.m. news, we had a mascot come in every day. And they can't talk, so it was a bit challenging. So we made cards for them with answers, and they got to hang out with Ken, and Ken would ask them questions, and they would hold up the cards to answer them. And then on Facebook, we had a Guess Who It Is, because Super Bowl's on Fox, which is also where we have WRAL News as well, because we simulcast, and we have our Fox-specific shows as well. So it was kind of a fun play on Masked Singer, where we had these silhouettes, and it was like, guess who's in the mask, guess who's in the mask type deal. And then obviously the last one in the mask is literally Roy Williams. So all week long, people were guessing. Great school of spirit around the area. When Mr. and Mrs. Wolf's like shadows are up there, like their silhouettes, you can see every State fan being like, "Go State!" And hundreds of comments underneath it.
So how does this rate in terms of all the commercials that you've created in your career?
So, I mean, my favorite one is always the last one, right?
Sure.
That's typically how I look at it, because you put everything you've learned into the last spot you did. But these are particularly special because most of the time we're focused on the viewer, as we should be, right? Like we're always looking at what is the benefit of our product to a viewer and why should they watch us over anybody else. But there's only a couple situations where we get to stunt and just have fun. And typically,
this was one of them. Awesome. Well, we'll be back after the break with more from John Gilliam about how he came up with this idea. Welcome back to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm talking with John Gilliam about this year's WRAL Super Bowl commercial. So where did the idea come from? You said you had seen the one mascot, and that kind of triggered that for you. You thought, maybe there's something here.
Yeah, so we had a couple plans. And a lot of times with spots like these, you have to. Like the spot from last year, we had 4 different versions. And the one we had to go with was the one that we got, because the first 3 had fallen through. But this one was kind of the first one that we came up with, because we always talk about how, we're really good at our jobs, but we have like pitches where we do these spots where it's like, but we're not good at your job at home, right? So like if you're a construction worker or something, there's always like a fun kind of thing to do where we would put Gerald out there using a jackhammer, and he wouldn't be great at it, and it would go crazy. It would be a funny spot.
It's kind of a play on that.
Exactly. So we just flipped that around where we wanted to be like, what we do is hard too, and how can we have a lot of fun with this, but still kind of pay homage to the fact that North Carolina is one of the biggest sports states in the country and in the world.
Absolutely. Right? Did you guys sit around a table and brainstorm this, or?
So this was something I had a little bit in my mind as we were watching the Super Bowl last year. Mixing together some of the old commercials I'd seen when I was growing up. And I actually walked into Joel Davis, our GM's office and I was like, hey, here are the 3 options. What's your favorite? And he was like, I like the mascot one, to his credit. Yeah. And he was like, and I credit where credit's due. He was like, we have to have a celebrity at the end who like unmasks. Right. So he
not
did
one
add
of
the kicker
our
to
celebrities, not a WRAL celebrity,
No.
but somebody else. I gotcha.
Yeah.
So John, tell me how you got into this. I mean, you've been here how long, and what did you do before you came here?
4 years here. Before this, there was a lot of stuff. Again, marketing director at other places, reporter, chief photographer, college professor, kindergarten teacher. I also ran an autistic program for kids who were in second grade.
So you've lived like 9 lives,
for
sure. Okay.
You got it, right?
So all of that, though, you bring all of that to the table with you. Have you done, I know you did last year's Super Bowl commercial. Have you done others besides that?
Yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to have a bunch of Super Bowls, on the networks that at other stations I was at. Sure. There were 2 here, definitely, obviously, and then I had one on the station I was at in Baltimore, and then one at a station I was when I was in West Palm Beach.
So it's got to be a lot of pressure because you know how many people are watching. It's an extraordinary number compared to a regular night. And there's a lot of competition, right? There's a lot of ads, and the whole goal is to be memorable. So what's that pressure like?
Honestly, this is going to sound almost like a cop-out answer, but when you have a great team behind you, like I worked on this with a whole bunch of producers. There's a concept idea, but then there's writing a script and there's doing storyboards. So we had people illustrating the different scenes. Glenn Dion shot this and edited it. Mary Grace scheduled out all the mascots and came up with some of the concepting. Like, it's not a one-person thing. So when you're looking at a pressure situation, it's kind of like Michael Jordan and the 97 Bulls. If you have Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, and Steve Kerr, you're good to go.
You're good to go.
Yeah.
Well, you guys did an amazing job, your whole team. And it's just a great commercial. And I think a lot of people will remember it for a long time.
I'm glad.
So nice work. John, thank you for taking the time to chat with us today. And thank you for listening to the WRAL Daily Download and making us part of your morning routine. If you like what you're hearing, please rate us on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcast app you use. Another great way to get WRAL News is the Morning Briefing newsletter. It's a daily email waiting in your inbox every morning with Triangle News events and headlines to get you ready for the day. Sign up at WRAL.com/newsletter.